Thank you for having me. This is so exciting. It's a little different hosting these virtually as opposed to face-to-face because we love all the face-to-face stuff. And you guys have to excuse my background in the process of moving. But first and foremost, thank you to EAK for having me and having everybody else and hosting this panel. And on this panel, we are going to keep that DeFi theme rolling and talk about yield farming risks, opportunities, and new crops explained from yam to pasta. We bring together all the DeFi leaders to explain what meme coins are and the reason for this craze. Shout out to all the food tokens out there. So I have the folks from Aave, TomoChain, and 1inch Exchange. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
All right, so let's get started. And I would before we start talking about DeFi and food tokens, because those are a lot of fun, and I love a good meme token. Why don't each of you introduce yourselves? Talk about a little bit about your guys' company and what your guys' company does for the space. Whoever wants to start.
Well, I can break the ice. So I'm Stani. I'm the founder and CEO of Aave. Aave is a decentralized money market protocol that is running on the Ethereum network. And in essence, what it means is that you can deposit different kinds of cryptographic assets, such as stable coins, and earn interest. So basically, our goal is to have interest on every asset on chain. And then when you deposit, you can actually draw a credit line from Aave. We started to build already back in 2016, 2017, and we launched first lending protocol back then. And and this year has been pretty awesome, like not just for Aave, but for DeFi in general.
Awesome. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, I can be next. My name is Anton. I am co-founder and CTO of 1inch Exchange. 1inch Exchange is a DEX aggregator. So what 1inch did is united all layer 1 DEXs on Ethereum into a single huge high liquid DEX. So it's like all the DEXs were united in single DEX, which can offer prices sometimes even better than on like coolest centralized exchanges.
Awesome. Who is next?
I can be the next. Hi, I'm Lucas from TokenLoan, and I'm leading the growth at TokenLoan. TokenLoan is a decentralized exchange building on top of 0x protocol and using a unique RFQ model. It's also been a very good year for us. Like for the past few weeks, we are doing about 30 million trading volume a day, and we have helped to onboard more than 100K users to decentralized exchange since our launch in April 2019.
Wow. And then we have one more person on the panel.
Yeah, that's me. My name is Long Vương. I am a founder and CEO of TomoChain, which is a scalable, low-fee public blockchain. We have been building TomoChain since 2017. We launched mainnet in late 2018 and have been working on it since then. We are also building a few DeFi projects, such as a non-custodial exchange, TomoDex on TomoChain, and recently launched AMM liquidity protocol, LuaSwap.
Awesome. Yeah, LuaSwap is something really cool, and you guys are all working on really, really great stuff. So I want to kick this off, and let's talk about some of the misconceptions that is presented with DeFi in the space, because right now a lot of people are seeing all these meme tokens pop up. They think that they can get rich right away, and there's a lot of misconceptions about that. So do you guys want to start talking about some of the risks associated with DeFi and with DEXs, and then talk about how your guys' companies are aiming to make it more legitimate and easier for general population to access and use?
Well, I can mention something practically. Definitely, this year has been quite interesting in the sense that we saw a lot of this kind of so-called like liquidity mining programs where the users are, or let's say the governance power of a protocol is basically distributed to the users with the users of the platform. And in one way, it's an interesting model to actually distribute the governance power to actually users and not just speculators. But the thing is that in DeFi, how to get access to those tokens, you pretty much have to provide liquidity. And when you provide liquidity into these protocols, you're practically farming those tokens. And that usually means that if you have a big account, so you provide a lot of liquidity, so you're a whale. In that sense, you get most of the tokens. And then if you have a small account, basically farming those tokens will not provide that much of a governance power or exposure to that asset or protocol, and you end up buying that token. So it's kind of like a the idea is called like fair launch in the sense that the teams that are launching tokens this way, they're trying to take less power as they can and distribute the governance power to the token holders. But end of the day, it's the big accounts who are farming everything, and then the small accounts, they have to buy them. And this is kind of interesting because it's not a perfect solution, but it draws a lot of attention, especially for many to gain a lot of interest or yields. And then when there's a lot of interest in yields and tractions, incentives plays a big part in DeFi. All kinds of opportunism comes in play, and people tend to launch different kinds of products or smart contracts without audits, and then we see this kind of things where money gets stocked, or some of the projects, they just disappear with the funds, or there's all kinds of bad examples. And the thing is that DeFi is not all about that completely. There's sort of sustainable projects that are building protocols very securely. They audit their work, and they and do all the best practices they can. But this is kind of like a side thing that is happening, and it's very risky, and end users usually don't understand the risk that they're getting into.
I agree. Anton, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah. I see some parallel. If we would see what happened 3 years ago with ICO hype, people invested their money into some new coins, and potentially a lot of them lost a lot of money on prices of these coins they bought on these ICOs. But comparing to previous hype, in this hype, I see that people are farming new tokens. They're not buying it. They do farming. So they putting some liquidity into some liquidity protocols. They use somehow some lending protocols to earn, to farm, and they get this token. They I believe they potentially could not lose, because they do not invest and are not buying this token. They do farming. This is really good comparing to what happened 3 years ago, and I see that they have different opportunities. Some of them can give you huge APR, some of them can give you low APR, but it's already balanced on the market by risks. So some new protocols could offer higher APR, but they have a higher risks. So it's always rebalancing between opportunities and risks. So, and one more point, that projects who are doing farming, they have two different features. They, first of all, distributing their token without having a public sale, and second point, they are, for example, if they do farming on some liquidity protocol like Uniswap or any other AMM, they do pay for market making. So instead of hiring market makers on centralized exchanges, they pay to users who provide liquidity, and they can like have a few millions of bucks liquidity on AMM, and it would give like enough liquidity to have good prices. It's like paying for AMM, but paying for regular users, for liquidity providers.
So essentially, it still is using market making, but it's a different form of market making that may be a little bit more ethical, I guess. But then again, it kind of can be contradictory because you're looking at specific accounts that have a large amount of coins or tokens, and who knows where they got these, who knows if they bought them on the market or they were given to them by a team member, or if in fact it is a team member. And then we notice rug pulls and all that liquidity coming out, and these people that get stuck with farming specific or different projects, they can be, because there's different lockup periods, correct, for different coins?
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah, it was a question. Yeah. I'm not sure if farming always have vesting periods. I see that some pre-minings, if you have like provided liquidity before token launch, it could have vesting. Like it was like on Curve protocol, you will get like pre-farmed tokens in vesting. But if you farm, you will get your tokens almost instantly. Most of them use smart contract for tokens distribution, and it's like a fun fact that first version of this contract was written by me to Synthetics. It was in December of the previous year, and most of the projects are using this approach to distribute tokens in proportional manner to all of the participants.
Fair enough. Lucas, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. I think Anton and Stani covered market and the economic risks pretty well. So I just wanted to add that there could be other risks as well. For example, the technical risk, because it's hard to be bug-free in the codes. And so I think for the newcomers, if they cannot read code and they are new to the space, it may be good that they check if the project is properly audited, and if to see, and also see if the team is a reputable team in the space. So that way, maybe they can avoid like the rug pull or some other incidents.
Let's say somebody is brand new to the space. I have a TikTok account, so I went ahead and let my TikTok followers know I was hosting a panel on DeFi. So let's say that some of them are watching. Where would they look to even see if a code was audited or not?
I think there could be, especially for those early projects, probably you will have to reach out to the team or join their Discord channel to see if they have these that they can share. And it's best they can have these available on the website, but not all the early projects have or have their code audited. So I think our users should really make sure they understand the risk here.
Okay.
I would want to add that like the audits itself do not do not guarantee the safety. That's one thing. We've seen projects, even kind of legit projects, they have vulnerabilities after multiple audits, and it's kind of like a very difficult, because it's usually humans who are developing, building, and since you kind of like have to build something perfect, and it's very very difficult. So even though it's been audited a few times, there's still a risk always involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course. Long, what about you? What are your thoughts on the risk associated with DeFi?
I think from the project point of view, I think the farming is a way to distribute the protocol token to the end user, to the community, and to the contributor. And I think there's no perfect way to do it. Yes, so kind of like the space, right? And we are kind of experimenting with a different way of doing it. And I still think that DeFi way we have until I think August this year is still not comparable to the ICO way in 2017, because still not many interest from outsider, and even people who are inside the space. Some of them is not keen on the DeFi. I think in terms of risks, you obviously, like someone mentioned, you have to check the smart contract. You have to check the quality of the team, and I think at the peak of the DeFi in August, like 1 or 2 months ago, I think people jumping in, whenever there's a new contract, right, and there's a crazy high APY, people jumping in and putting money in. We also experienced it recently. So like people throwing $100,000 to buy, token and to farm on the first day of farming. So I think the main point is geofarming is one way of distributing the token. What really matters in the long run is whether the protocol and the product is useful and bring real value to the end user and to the communities.
I actually agree with you on that, Long. So my next question is, I would like to get everyone's thoughts on these food tokens, because originally when I think of DeFi, I think of it being accessible to the average person who can't necessarily get a loan at their bank, either to take a mortgage out or to start a small business. So that's what I think of when I'm thinking of DeFi. But we're seeing all these food tokens. We have pasta, we have sushi. There's even a brand new coin out now that's actually called a food token. How can the average person navigate this stuff? I know you guys touched on joining the Telegram or the Discord group, asking for the code. Do you guys recommend them asking if there's a specific lockup period on Unicrypt? Like, what are your guys' advice on this for brand new folks or for people that have been in the game for a while? And if Stani, if you want to go ahead and start this off.
Yeah, I mean, the food tokens are like a I don't know. The positive thing, like to start with positive stuff, I think they're interesting way to build like community and culture, and somehow like narrative. There's always been narrative of in the cryptocurrency space and in DeFi space in general. So I really like that, but kind of like there's so many food coins and there's so much stuff that is totally useless. And it's just like there's a lot of lack of innovation, but the good thing is that I think the whole DeFi space is quite about education, and I think crypto space has been always about education. Trying to understand like how you basically hold your keys, and same in DeFi. What does DeFi mean? Non-custodial access and understanding like distinguishing which protocols are actually like good, sustainable, and which are like super risky. And it's just I think there's no way of avoiding the educational part. I think it will always belong to that.
So do you think that companies, different food tokens or any type of company in the DeFi space, do you think that they should provide some sort of educational content for their communities?
Yeah, I think so, but I also think that let's say if you launch a food token, you kind of don't care about the education. You just want to do it for fun, and kind of maybe there will be a community that comes around, and then it evolves something, and then they educate. But I would love to see more education. We try to do it at Aave, and I think in every project in even this panel does the same, and it's just a common thing when we can educate people in the same way.
Anton, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I would extend Stani's thoughts about these tokens. That I agree that it looks like experiments. So these projects are showing us what would happen if someone, for example, would fork Uniswap and introduce fair lunch with farming of own token. And at the end of this experiment, we can see how existing projects which are forked, how they are sustainable to these forks. It's kind of proof of fork. If someone tried and not like overbid, for example, we see that sushi swaps at the first moment it like overtake the amount of liquidity and Uniswap, but then Uniswap growed a lot and again won all this liquidity. So it seems that all these projects who are just forks is just interesting experiments. I would not personally suggest to anyone to participate in this kind of activity with like real own funds. It's just like experiment fun, and if you can like put a few $100 in this, and you can lose it without any fear, without huge pain. You can just have some fun,
or just collect the airdrops and play with those, right?
Yeah, sure.
Lucas, what are your thoughts on this?
I think I would just share some points about how to navigate for the people who just come to the space or just learn about it. I think for the newcomer, they right now they can go to a CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, because they both have a dedicated website that listing out all the farming projects. I think CoinGecko also have the information about if the project is audited, and then they also have the APY listed there. So I think that's a good way for the people interested to get started. If they want to, if they are willing to spend more time, they can like follow people like Stani and Anton on Twitter, like following the crypto Twitter and their discussions there as well. And last point would definitely be just do your own research, invest money you can afford to lose, because I just generally for those experiments, I think it's fun as long as you don't lose your money. And personally, I like those experiments because it brings lots of new ideas to the space.
I agree with you on that. The food tokens are a lot of fun. I'm a sucker for meme tokens, but I kind of wanted this next topic. It's a kind of a serious topic. I want to talk about the legal implications for the DeFi space, because we saw a big debacle that happened with YFI, and I don't have all of the information in front of me, but there was like some sort of crowdfunding lawsuit that was created by some of the participants that had lost money. And when you think about crypto, you think about, decentralization and like taking responsibility for your own choices. But these people lost money, so now they're upset and they're crowdfunding a lawsuit against the team. And I think some of the team is anonymous as well. Do you guys want to talk about some of the legal implications in the space with DeFi, or maybe some of the legal troubles that you guys have had with your company as far as getting things licensed and regulated for the places that you're operating in?
So we are companies in Singapore. So we are following Singaporean laws, and so far there is no issue that I know of. And definitely, like if you plan to do an ICO, like in 2018, 2017, you plan to do an ICO, you have to have a lawyer, right? You have to have a security review. So spend like 20, 30,000, maybe even more for that work. But if you are doing a fair launch of token airdrop, I think you don't need to spend money on legal opinion. I think that's what we found out, and that's why we did that with Lua Swap. We just don't want to go to the fundraising and don't want to go to the whole process of getting a lawyer and legal opinions. Yeah, but I think anything, you have to be careful when you opening something that people put money in, because if they lose money, right, they can get crazy and sue you, all kind of things. So I think that's one reasons, a lot of teams are anonymous, and a lot of devs are anonymous in the space. For us, right, because we are no team, we have to take even extra precaution in producing our software and to protect the end user.
Lucas, do you have any thoughts on this?
I think the regulation is currently very vague in the space, but I believe the regulators are starting to pay attention. So, for example, like just a couple of weeks ago, we all heard about the BitMEX case that their CTO was arrested. Although BitMEX is not DeFi, but I think generally people working in the DeFi, they are feeling regulators are paying attention to the space. So I think for the projects would be just to be very careful and maybe consult lawyers who know the space early, so you can be more prepared.
Anton, what are your thoughts on this? Anton?
I had bad connection. Could you repeat question?
Yes. Okay. So we saw with YFI, we saw that there was a bunch of drama that happened as all went down on crypto Twitter live. I remember I was out to dinner when it happened. But anyways, there was a group of people that lost a lot of money in this DeFi craze with the YFI, and that I want to say that other projects, EMN, and there's a group of people that they crowdfunded a lawsuit to fight the anon devs. What are your thoughts about legal implications for DeFi teams currently?
Yeah, the thing is that people are trying to get high opportunities, but they do not consider high associated risks. And the thing is that I remember like 3 versions of Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi 2, Wi-Fi 3, possibly, maybe more. I'm not sure. Everyone tried to repeat like the success of very first version, but it's like the difference. The very first version is dominating among any others, like any other copies. And yeah, people started to observe transactions and deployed contracts on wallets of developers. And they started consider every new token, every new smart contract as a potential investment. So they are putting money even without waiting. If they see this wallet deployed new token, and this token possibly is like listed somewhere on AMM, on Uniswap, or there is like any chance to extract this token from some farming or something like this, some people are trying to do this ASAP, without waiting for announcement, without waiting for audit. You know, it's like a problem for these people, but somehow it became a problem of developers, because these people lost money and they started to pretend on compensation, possibly. I don't know what they actually want to get, because they put money in some crazy smart contract, which potentially this smart contract was not considered to be like latest version, which will go live. So I'm sure this should not happen, but this happened somehow, and this people try to put responsibility for their bad decisions on developers. This is also how it shouldn't be, for sure.
Right. Those are my thoughts, because when we're talking about DeFi and we're talking about decentralization, it's all about being your own bank and taking responsibility for yourself and your actions. But then once we get money involved, we see this with trading psychology. A lot of people get their emotions involved and they get all hectic and wild. But that's neither here nor there. Stanley, what are your thoughts about this?
One second, please. Let me promote one interesting quote of DeFi Prime account. I really like it. It sounds like the whole idea of decentralization is about allowing people to scam each other without middlemen.
Right.
It's a joke, but it's really fun.
It's relevant.
Yeah, I have a mixed opinion because in one way I definitely agree. Like, you know, if you deploy something to kind of like to the mainnet and you interact with it, you know, it's permissionless and so forth. You can lose funds. You know, that's the risk always. But also it's kind of like double-edged sword in the sense that if you know that people are doing that kind of stuff, like then kind of like should you first like deploy to a testnet, ensure a couple of audits, and then, you know, like start to kind of like promote the smart contracts that are actually alive. And I've been talking about this with Andre quite many times because I mean he loves to deploy straight to the mainnet, and this is the problem because like people like, I mean, they will always try to take opportunities. Many people are driven by greed, and they always want the upside but don't want the downside, and that's a very difficult thing.
Well, it has to be hard for the devs too, because there's a lot of people that are just out there, like Andre, that seem like they really just want to create really cool things, and they're not really doing it necessarily to get rich on that particular project, but they're trying to make something revolutionary. And then people kind of don't gauge it like that. They're looking at it more of a trader as opposed to actually being in it for the tech. But I guess my last question is I want to get all of your gentlemen's opinion on DeFi long term. How do you envision the future for DeFi? And Stanley, if you want to kick this off and, you know, talk about how you envision it and if it's a fad or not.
Yeah, future like upcoming years or upcoming weeks.
Let's talk about maybe the next 5 to 10 years, because crypto is still in its infancy. Me personally, I don't think we're going to see mass adoption until my 4-year-old daughter grows up and she, you know, she's doing her thing in the space. That's my personal opinion. But so what are your thoughts maybe the next 10 years? Is this going to be a fad, or, you know, is there going to be a future?
I think, you know, overall there's going to be a lot of potential because if this liquidity starts to grow and grow, you know, and anyone can access it, if it keeps staying permissionless, like for example Bitcoin and Ethereum is today, and if it becomes widely kind of like accepted that this permissionless protocols could be also decentralized permissionless protocols could be also accessible by anyone, and the fact that anyone can access means also that anyone can build. So the ecosystem will grow exponentially because this is kind of a unique situation where you have financial platform where anyone can build. You know, compared to Web 2, where if you want to build a application, connect multiple wallets, or so, let's say bank accounts, you have to basically get a permission of every bank's to connect with their APIs and basically look at their terms and conditions. But here in the decentralized finance, you can basically build the next Uniswap, the next Aave, the next whatever, you know, and everyone is encouraging you to do that, and that's the thing. So I think the openness and permissionless nature will be so powerful that you can't do anything else than join it. I mean, I'm pretty sure at some point Ethereum and many of the layer 2s and alternative blockchains, they will be the networks where you do transactions, and I just can't see any other future.
I agree with you there. Don't tell anyone. Anton, what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I strongly believe that current blockchain and DeFi technologies is like a missing piece of world finance, because it's how finance, money, and all these derivatives and all these things should be implemented, but somehow they were implemented in a wrong manner, in a faster, cheaper, and more cheap way to achieve. Yeah, and it seems that world is targeting and aiming to the decentralized future, and I'm not sure how far we will get in next 5 to 10 years. I wish to believe it will be really far, but it seems it will not be. Everyone 3 years ago believed that mass adoption is like already here. It will be like in a few months, but then like next iteration happened. 3 years passed, and I see that everyone, possibly someone, believes that mass adoption it will be like in a few months, but I do not believe this time. I see that possibly we will have one more 3 years cycle, and I don't know how many cycles we will need to have a technology be ready for mass adoption, because everyone sees that right now we're not ready. We do not have any blockchain systems which are capable to have millions of users daily. Right now, 5 millions of users, 5 millions of wallets are interacting with Ethereum monthly, and only 2 to 300,000 of wallets are interacting with it daily. So I see that we are not ready for mass adoption yet, and possibly we will be ready in next 3 years, but I'm not sure. So I believe we will spend next 10 years trying to be closer to mass adoption, and I hope it will be exponential growth. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can do this without big companies like PayPal stepping in, because they're coming for you guys. I hope you're ready. Lucas, what are your thoughts about this, about the future for DeFi?
Anton remind me that a saying that people tend to overestimate the change in the next 1 or 2 years, but underestimate what could be done in the next 10 years. So I'm very bullish about what will happen in the next 10 years. And I actually do believe DeFi will go mainstream, but it will go mainstream in the way that mainstream people don't really aware it. So I think DeFi will quietly work in the back end and quietly just probably improving the user experience, reducing the cost, things like that.
I agree with you on that. Huong, what are your thoughts about the future for DeFi, and is this just a fad?
Yeah, it definitely not a fad. I think we are in a very early stage, because looking back 10 years ago, we didn't have Ethereum, right? And Bitcoin is also very early. So there's a lot of things that can happen in 5 to 10 years. And I think DeFi is one of the big team, really big team with the crypto space. And it really is time that the technology going into and disrupt banking and finance. And I think the fact that DeFi is so borderless and permissionless, and it's very easy to integrate with different product, and developer is very easy to build on top of other product and protocol. I think it's very hopeful, and I'm very bullish about the space.
I agree with you. All right, we have a few minutes left, but can you guys each give me 2 to 3 sentences on your opinion about PayPal entering the space and how that's going to impact DeFi? I don't know if you guys can do it or not, but maybe 2 to 3 seconds. Long, do you want to start?
It's definitely a good sign that the mainstream finance is very interested in Bitcoin and also in crypto in general. I think PayPal, they really like Bitcoins, but for DeFi, I think they still kept wait and see, because some of the service and product is kept overlapping.
I agree. Lucas, 2 to 3 seconds. Your thoughts on PayPal and DeFi, if that will work together.
Yeah, sure. I think what PayPal did will definitely bring more institutional interest in the space. And because they are a consumer-facing products and they have so many users, so it could be actually very important in the way that they bring DeFi to the mainstream, but having the DeFi working in the behind.
I agree with that as well. Anton, 2 to 3 sentences on PayPal and DeFi. Does it work? Does it not work?
I believe any company, any wide-known company pointing to DeFi and blockchain technologies is very good, because just point people to this and they will discover DeFi and all this like on their own. Just point them.
Yeah, they'll discover all the food tokens on their own, I'm sure. Stanley, two to three sentences on your thoughts on DeFi and PayPal. Do they mix or do they not?
Yeah, I mean, PayPal has its own network, right? Settlement network. But the thing is, I guess the closer they come to the cryptocurrency space, the closer they come to the DeFi space as well. So I think it's a positive sign, and yeah, I agree. Everything what has been said about PayPal here, very big thing, and I think more importantly, probably other fintech electronic money service providers will follow. That's even bigger thing, because it legitimizes cryptocurrencies, their nature, and then later it's part of DeFi, of course, and yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for taking this time with me on this beautiful Friday. I hope you all have a great weekend. Shout out to EAK Digital for bringing us all together to talk about food tokens, because those are the best. And I'm really excited for all of your guys' companies and all the amazing things you are all doing in the space. So thank you.